Good evening. Welcome to my palace. Drinking my nettle tea with some lemon ginger. And today's topic, letting down the shields, ladies and gents. You know, something had dropped in for me the other night when I was really kind of like, because all the processing, all the preparing that I made for myself, I did for myself, preparing myself to remove the implants and just be in a good state, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It really was a lesson in love, like a true, wow, alchemizing. It was a catalyst to much of the healing I've done over the course of my life. That as much as many times we think, oh, well, I'm just doing it for myself. But what's the real underlying reason why we do what we do? We can say we're confident, but maybe we're not as confident as we think. Because our limited BS, our belief systems, will tell us one thing. It's so clever, that mind, that ego. It will convince you that it was your idea all along, but it was originally influenced from some other source, and it wasn't within you. A lot of times it came from outside of you. And so this is what I've been working with. I've been wielding this knowledge and awareness through my personal experience, integrating it into who I am, knowing and recognizing over the course of my life that the breast implants no longer represented the woman I am today. The woman I was when I got them, the young woman who hadn't even yet turned 25, was convinced that I wanted them just to, give me that shape, just to fit into my clothes. I was influenced by fashion, by lifestyle, clothing, modeling, acting. I was in all these different walks of life growing up. The idea that I couldn't fit into the clothes instead of making the clothes fit into me, which is how we need to condition our minds more. Like, why are we always trying to fit in and prove ourselves worthy of being a part of all these different aspects of life, that we negate the unique individual that we came here to be? Why should I try to prove myself worthy of anything than what I am, physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? So even just looking over the course of my life and recognizing that in a lot of ways I had insecurities that I hadn't even tapped into or tuned into. And so as a result, yes, I did all this for body image because I was not 100%. Even though I always loved my body, I felt the need to enhance it, to implant it, to restrict it and constrict it. And I didn't know at the time what that was doing, was putting up a shield. This healing journey has taught me that this is our energy, this is our battery, our electromagnetic field. That whenever you place something on top of, you have dampened its effectiveness. You have limited its expansiveness. Our lungs and our heart work hand in hand so beautifully, that the lungs power the battery, right? When every breath we take, the more we can expand, we give more space, we expand and also can live a much fuller, richer life, optimal life at that. That if we can't expand to our full capacity and grow from that, the more we're constricted, our life becomes restricted. And that our hearts need to be fed and nourished through the power of the spirit, the breath. That's why they work hand in hand. What do you think powers one and the other? You can't live without each other. Like that's actually a divine union in itself, the heart and the lungs, that they occupy the same space. two hearts beating as one in a different form. There's so much truth. I was thinking about that song earlier when I was thinking about how we humans did not come here to hold back, to protect ourselves. Like, whoever taught us that was teaching us inside out, upside down, backwards, not forwards. Because when you break your heart, it expands it more. It gives it more opportunity to fill in with the light. Because sometimes we need to be broken wide open to really see the depth of which we love, the depth to which we hurt. Like, that is a human condition. That's so beautiful in itself. So the hearts that we all have, and I believe the heart is the seat of the soul. That's just my personal experience, that you've got the heart and the spirit, the lungs that come in. Why wouldn't it be the Holy Trinity? The heart, the spirit, and the soul as one. And that we humans are meant to come together and our hearts are meant to beat as one. That's what the oneness is really about. And that was the insight I got. Two hearts beating as one. Actually, it's all of us as one. And that goes back to the electromagnetic field and the Schumann resonance and how we are so intricately in sync with the earth. And when the earth is out of whack, we're out of whack. It's just a reflection, just like astrology is like a weather forecast for the conditions. It doesn't dictate what you do. That's up to you. Just like with our hearts, if we are off, then our hearts are going to be like heavy. You're going to feel that. Your lungs are going to feel constricted. Like if you're someone who doesn't breathe fully into the belly, deep down into the pelvic floor, if you're not really expanding your breath with every inhale, expanding, every cell is getting nourished, and then exhaling, contracting. If you're not getting the fullness of your breath, you're limiting your life. You're restricting it. See, the cage is your rib cage. It's your own prison, if you really want to think about it. And it is what limits our life when we get caught up in the belief of limitation through labels or stories or our BS, our belief systems. And so this journey that I've been on with healing myself, I was like, whoa, the other night I'm laying in bed, I'm like, this was a few nights ago and I really sat with it the past few days. I'm like, Superwoman's shield came off. Now she can open her heart even more. Because all these superheroes putting on armor, having to have shields, having to wear a mask, all that's bullshit. You know why? Because the real life superhero doesn't wear a suit of armor, doesn't hold up a shield, doesn't wear any type of face covering, does not constrict or restrict themselves. If anything, they get in that power stance and they will stand there and expand even more. And that's what us humans are meant to do. Not close it off, but open it even more. Because the real power comes from within. And when you recognize this electromagnetic field, you charge it up, you strengthen your nervous system, you strengthen yourself with the breath, because that's all strengthening the nervous system and your cardiovascular system, your enteric nervous system, trusting your gut. Like when you really hone in and strengthen your temple, you're impenetrable. That's what makes you a superhero. Allowing yourself to be fully seen, felt. Because that is vulnerability. And it takes a whole lot of courage. Le cœur is the heart. It takes a whole lot of heart to be seen, to allow yourself to be witnessed in your fullness, in your vulnerability. To allow yourself to be vulnerable is to show your true courage. Rawr. And that's what we really are here for. And that your heart, when you are in the presence of others, heart coherence, less than 6 feet, by the way, when you put that much distance between you, you're actually creating the divide among you. We are meant to be in gathering. We're meant to expand our energy. And when we come together in group with a common intention, a goal, a prayer, that's how powerful we truly are. But when you go into groups of anger, frustration, fear, it's all influential. And when you get in those spaces, it guides the energy in that direction. That's why you should be intentional with whatever and wherever you place yourself. Because you want to affect the world with your strength of vulnerable courage, an open, expansive heart, not a constricted, restricted life, not in the FEAR, which is false evidence of appearing real. It's all constructed. It's all a story. Tapping into your body's wisdom, trusting your heart, expanding, just breathing, just being present. That's what you're here for. That's what I'm here for. And then one thing I have learned is that when you think you've protected yourself, you're actually isolating and alienating yourself. Thinking that, oh my gosh, my heart's been hurt. Well, guess what? The more you think you're protecting yourself, you're actually creating more of what you don't want to come towards you, because that's a vibration in itself. My experience has taught me what you don't want tends to come to you stronger the more you focus on not wanting it. And that's why it's so powerful to be very intentional with your thoughts and the words that you choose to speak, because you are creating your reality at all times. And the more powerful your heart, the quicker you manifest. The more present you are in your body, be careful the words you speak, because you manifest that in the now. And these days we're speeding up. You're being upgraded. You are being up-leveled in this spiritual life, in this human existence. Some of you may even be noticing your dreams are on fire and deeper. Maybe you're also noticing signs that are really picking up. My sister called me earlier today. She shared something that manifested for her as a sign. And I shared with her earlier how the ring that I gave her that had a small Larimar stone, the day I gave it to her, it literally fell out of the ring. And so all I had was the ring left. I said, well, that's really strange. I'll have to see if I can get, what they say. Today, I found the stone in the driveway. You can't make this stuff up. Everything in my life has been divinely guided. The fact that I was so fortunate to choose to have my implants removed now, to see how ruptured it really was, that's scary. And people out there, I'm going to say men and women, because there are men who get breast implants too. How many of them are walking around with the ticking time bomb in their body? These foreign devices, like inhibiting your full expression and experience of life. That's constricting. It not only keeps your heart suppressed and constricts your lungs, but your life in totality. It's also a barrier to really getting close to others. So as I sat with that, I'm like, wow, I am really, really blessed. I know this. I feel watched over. Everything in my life always works out, and I'm always guided in the direction I need to go. Some things in the past, I was kicking and screaming, but in the end, it always worked out for me. So I always remind myself to center. Like, okay, a freak out is just a sign that something is big and better coming around the corner. Because whenever my mind goes into a wacky tailspin, it's like, chill out, back off, take a deep breath, Something bigger and better must be coming, because your mind freaks out when it's unfamiliar. It doesn't know what it is, but it senses it. It's intangible. That's how the mind works, is I'm on high alert. Something's coming. I don't get it. I don't know. Because energetically, you're feeling it in your body. The mind is responding to the body. The body responds to the mind. When your body's out of alignment, it's showing where the mind is out of alignment. And so, you know, the more you tap into this amazing system of truth, because your body's a truth teller, the less you're going to go and get taken advantage of outside of yourself. You can learn to discern through your into me, I see, your intuition. Your body's wisdom will tell you. But you need to learn to trust yourself. And again, the more you're willing to be vulnerable and courageous and be seen and expand beyond what feels comfortable in the moment, will be your true superpower, as your superhero is you, that only you can save you in this life. And so it's real easy to think, oh, I've been hurt in the past. I don't want to, I don't want that to happen again. But nothing is dictating that's going to happen again, except for the stories you're creating. And the more you fixate on it, conscious or unconscious, you draw more of that to you. I know, I've done it. I've experienced it. I've witnessed the power of my mind. I've witnessed the power of other people's minds. Listen to them say things on repeat and watch them actually manifest in like real time. And it fascinates me how many people are unconscious and not present, because the gift of the now is the present. We need to be here now in this, whatever this is what matters most. And the more you're here, present in the heart and deep within the lungs, the more you can tap into your intuition, and you will feel viscerally, physically, emotionally, mentally, your soul will express through you. So when we come together in groups and we resonate with one another, the heart coherence, we connect on a heart level. That's when you can learn to trust the most, because that's when you start to feel truth. And by being in the presence of others and connecting our hearts together in close proximity, all of our hearts beating as one because they all synchronize, trust actually starts to become more of a theme. And that's something on a subtle level that you have to really learn for yourself, and to recognize that it is always possible to trust another, even if they're lying. You can trust what you sense, because the truth is in your body. It's not up in here. You can think all you want, but you're going to feel what is right. You want an optimal life. You have to be willing to optimize your heart and your lungs, and to trust in the spirit of your breath. That's what really sets your soul on fire, because that's what we came to experience in this life, is to be fully in the now, in the present, in the gift. We are the gift. We are the free energy, the heart. We can heal through music, through our voice, through breath, through touch, through presence. There isn't anything we can't do. It's just our minds have been conditioned, influenced in a life that we got hijacked in. And it's okay, because once you recognize it, you can always start over. You can always choose to start anew. I chose to start fresh. This is my rebirth, is letting go of what no longer represented the woman I am, but also honoring and blessing and going through the mourning process of the woman I was, because she was just as much a powerhouse. but she was limited because she had the shield up. And she didn't even realize that shield limited the relationships I had. And I never thought about it that way until I really sat with it and recognized that when I was young, when I was the most carefree, footloose, and fancy-free, my high school sweetheart, Erin, we had the most fun, dancing, playing. But in some ways, I wanted more and didn't trust that I could still have that with him. Felt like I needed to do something else. But I could tell that young girl again, if I were to go back, I would say, try it anyway, do it anyway. Because the only reason you thought it wasn't possible, because you never tried it. So then when I got my implants, it was like, what real deep relationship had meaning? Maybe I had one or two. Hard to say. Now I get to try all over again without any shield. Now I'm fully exposed. Now, this superwoman, I'm not putting on a mask. I'm not putting on a show. I'm not even trying to get attention for any of this. I'm just who I am, as I've always been. But now I'm really unfiltered, uninhibited. If anything, I truly believe this is my opportunity to glow up. When I say glow up, I mean like seriously. This is my rebirth and you getting to witness it. I remember being told growing up that you're too much, you're too this, you're too that. And for years I was trying to tone myself down. I was trying to, and I have worked on my communication style in so many ways, and I'm very grateful. I've had some amazing teachers. But then came a certain point, even with my Reiki master teacher, she was also similar to me, and she said, who said that you had to change? Sometimes we have to soften certain aspects of our delivery and the way we communicate, but sometimes spirit just speaks through us. Why are we judging that? Why are we thinking that there's something wrong with the way we are? That, okay, so sometimes our delivery isn't always perfect, but if you miss the message because you're focused on the delivery, then you miss the mark in life. The valuable information is, how did it actually inspire or trigger you? Did it get you to change? Did it get you to move and get off your ass? It's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. And in many cases, I've spoken about this, but like with my mother, there were times she would actually manifest me to say something that would trigger her, and I would never use those words, and I remember thinking afterward, where the heck did that come out of me? Because that was not something I would say. And I've had that happen with people too since then, where I was like, that came through me. Spirit just spoke through me, and I can't take credit for that. And that happens a lot in my life, for the good and not so great, you know? But the truth I found is that maybe that was what was meant to be heard, and stop judging it. Because if we stop judging ourselves and our delivery, we can stop breaking our own hearts, because we're trying to prove ourselves again. Again, it'll always come back to part of the indoctrination nation is you always trying to prove yourself worthy, prove yourself successful, prove yourself beautiful, prove yourself, insert whatever it is you've been always trying to do to get ahead, to show others, look at me, even attention seeking. It's just all to prove that you're worthy of love. In the end, that is the full message of it. And if you have to seek others' approval, that's an outside thing. That's not an inside thing. That doesn't even guarantee that you'll feel full and complete inside, because that's up in here. You need to tap in here. And when you can be honest with yourself and recognize, I have a wound around abandonment and rejection. So maybe that's why I seek attention. The sooner you honor and own your shadow, why you do what you do, the sooner you'll stop your suffering. Because when you honor and own it, it won't own you, and nobody can use it against you. Nobody can break your own heart but you. The more you're willing to stand in it and go, I'm all in. You can't penetrate this shit. My heart, stronger than you think. I've walked through the fire. I've risen like the phoenix. See this heart? I'm going to love you no matter what, because I don't need your approval. My heart approves, period. And then take a deep breath in. And then sigh it out. And you got to do that a few times sometimes. Do it again. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale and sigh it out. Just let that shit go. Let's do it again. Inhale. Let it out. Let something go. Let it all go. Whatever's weighing you down, all you got to do is breathe it all in. Fill in your body. Fill in all the spaces. And then be willing to let it all go and see what remains. Because what goes was never intended to stick around. When you inhale and you take in the breath of life, the Spirit of God, that is what keeps your heart beating, keeps your heart and soul in connection, and syncopatia. I love this. I'm just, words are just popping in my mouth. I was thinking about this earlier. It's really about being in rhythm and harmony with one another through the beating of our hearts. That's rhythm. That's music. They took away our free energy because they occupied the buildings that used to harmonize us and recalibrate our frequencies, frequent keys. There are codes in music and notes. And when they did that, they turned them into palaces and religious institutions and churches and cathedrals and palaces. No bathrooms inside. But the way that you store energy is in red bricks. And that the acoustics were based on the architecture and the design. So we had ways of healing and calibrating, but it was stolen from us. So now we get to choose, how will we heal ourselves? And we got all the tools. We got them all within us. The first most important tool you've got is the power of your breath. Fill yourself full. Fill your cup up. And nobody can take it from you. Only when you submit and you give over or give up does it actually hold something over you. Again,